Testing, one, two, test, one, two, one, one. No one. Right, testing, good. Right, I'm gonna silence this phone, take down the volume. Five FM douglAR Radio, hot like pepper, in collaboration with Atlantic Studio. And today, of course, we want to welcome all of our viewers, our listeners, those on every platform. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we had some interesting events. We have seen that the government bill collapsed today, and of course we know for a fact that the government continue to fail in every aspect. And as Senator Jayanti Lachmidiyal went at length to explain why this bill makes no sense, one, and two, it is not a deterrent for crime. And of course, you can catch it on social media, on the Parliament channel. You can catch what happened. Nevertheless, today, ladies and gentlemen, we want to start off, while on my mind, in the back of my head, as I was driving up today, I keep wondering, why would the government not do anything about this pedophile report? It just keep beating me to the back of my head. I'm trying to look for answers as to why they will shelve that report. Why? Who else is involved? But we will get back to that a little bit. I just thought I should mention it because, of course, it's in the back of my mind, and I am really trying to understand why would the government do absolutely nothing for 6, 7, going on 8 months in relation to the abuse that is continuing to occur within these homes. But we'll talk about that a little later. I want to start first of all on the out of control crime situation in this country. And of course, while we would understand that the government have since put their hands up in the air and surrender in relation to this crime situation, I am saying this afternoon that while the government surrender, we cannot surrender. We cannot allow things to continue where our youths, our mothers, our fathers, everybody, no one is safe in this country at this point in time. And the reason for that, ladies and gentlemen, is because we have seen from top to bottom within the ruling government that they continue to flaunt the law. They continue to break the law. And when you will see that those who are responsible for implementing and those who are responsible to ensure that law and order is maintained within a society, and those are the one who you can find culpable in terms of breaking the same law that they have sworn to uphold. And when this happened, it tells us that the society itself break down, because it's becoming a way of life now. Law breaking, it is now coming a way of life that people are comfortable based on the level that you break the law. So it is okay to break a red light. It is okay to drink and drive once it doesn't get caught. It is okay to take up all the manhole covers and cut the TSTT cables and cut the washer line and remove the brass and whatever. It's okay to do that. That is the level that the society, this society, here is where we are at this point in time. And you must also look at cause and effects. You must also look at cause and effects. And while we are not advocating on this program in any way whatsoever that it is all right for those individuals to do what they're doing in order to get by or in order to provide a meal. But what we are saying is, when you have a government that bring policies to the table that create hardship and minimize employment and reduce employment in every sector, what you will eventually find is, first we'll have what we could describe as petty thief, shoplifting. People will take up a piece of cheese, a tin of corned beef, a piece of pigtail, a piece of saltfish, a little pack of milk, and then we will have those who will go in the store and take up some boxers and underwear, and those who will try a shoes on and leave their old shoes there and walk out with the new one. And you will have a lot of these activities taking place. And then while these activities are taking place simultaneously, you will find the bigger, or if we should call it, the more serious type of crimes will start to occur, where people will start to break and invade your home and rob and steal, and some may steal your car just to get some tires and a door or a part, and then the thing will continue to deteriorate until it reaches the point as to what we are now experiencing in this country. A matter of fact, we are even having those who are charged with the responsibility to protect and serve and to maintain law and order. We are now seeing those have been arrested for corruption and bribery and $500 and $1,000 and so on and so on. And this tells you something, ladies and gentlemen. This spells out something. This spells out in our society that governance is not what it ought to be. And then we will see those who are charged with the responsibility of governing. You will find those now are stealing, and they are involved in corruption and stealing land and demanding money from contractors and paying themselves from the government purse, like what we are experiencing with Faris Al-Wari family, who continue to collect rent, and those who have recused themselves over 200 times collectively, because there is some kind of interest that they have to walk out of the cabinet meeting in order for the rest of them to pass this lump sum, this big wash money. And while all this is happening, while they will have tax breaks and they will be able to import tax-free and shop online, and while they raise their salaries as they see it fit, and while they will have our taxpayers' credit card to eat and to drink and to have a time, and they continue to benefit from the taxpayer money while they implement pressure on the taxpayer and bring the people of the country to a point where it seems as though that every household, one in every household, may very well have to resort to stealing or shoplifting or predial larceny or something in order to survive and in order to provide for their families. Because even those who may be working CPEP and URP, and those who may be very well under the minimum wage, when you receive that wage, it is not even enough to make a grocery based on the high cost of living that we are now experiencing because of government failures and because of government removal of different and various subsidies. So we are at a point in our society where crime seems to be the order of the day. And while crime seems to be the order of the day, we are now experiencing a different type of hostility from those who are charged with the responsibility to protect and serve and to ensure that law and order is maintained. We are now seeing that they are going beyond law and order. They are actually going beyond their scope of works. And we are now seeing where police officers facing criminal charges for murder and abuse of their power and many various and asunder type of incidents that is occurring. And it seems like while all this is happening, that the Minister of National Security is fast asleep. It seems as though that the Minister of National Security have no plan. It is as though the Minister of National Security do not understand where to go from here. And when you have the Minister of National Security who do not understand his role and responsibility as the minister, then what you would expect would happen. And then coming out of that, you will find now what we are experiencing is that there is political interference within the police service. And therefore, when all this is happening, it tells us that law and order has since collapsed in our society. And this is where we are today. The government is desperately trying to grasp and to hold on at anything that they believe may work. They do not have a plan. There is no holistic plan as to how we're going to deal with the crime situation. There is no plan in terms of how we're going to deal with the judiciary and the backlog of cases that keep lingering for years, and while people continue to suffer, even those who may very well be innocent and sitting in the prison, and because of no trial date is years, and 15 and 16 and 20 years continue to go by, and people is still there with no, ladies and gentlemen, with no sign of things, or no sign of better days to come. So then, what shall we do? What shall we do? Shall we continue? You know, there is a particular passage of scripture that speaks to what shall we say then? Shall we continue in sin that grace may abound? And the writer was explaining there that at that particular time, there was a misconception where those individuals were believing that the more sin they commit is the more forgiveness they would get. And when I look at the political arena, I am seeing that we are in the same place. What shall we do? Shall we continue with this government and hope that something happen that may bring some kind of relief, or hope that the actual hands of crime does not reach to our homes? It seems like we just need to hope and pray and just will that it doesn't reach home, because it is at a place where there is no hope. There is no hope, and the society continues to deteriorate. There will be more killing, there will be more robbery, there will be more violent crime, there will be a high level of domestic violence, because when a man cannot provide for his home, and then when the wife realizes that the children hungry, and the wife start to call on the husband to do his job and to provide for the family, he now becomes frustrated and abusive, because there is no way to turn, there is no work to get, there is no food to bring, and we end up in a serious calamity. Serious calamity. So, what shall we do? That is the question here this afternoon. What shall we do? What is there for us to do? How can we move out from this situation that now faces us? How can we move out from this dilemma that is created upon the citizens of this country? So let us examine some ideas. Let us examine some ideas. Crime is something that must be dealt from a holistic standpoint. To deal with crime is not just giving the police more authority. It is not just giving the police more guns. It is not just giving the police more ammunition. It is not just providing more vehicles and building more police stations and painting them up and so on. Crime is more than that. To fight crime in this country, it takes a holistic plan where law enforcement must be involved, where the social services must also be involved, where education must be involved. A matter of fact, it will take every ministry to come together to deal with this crime situation that now faces us. And in order for that to happen, ladies and gentlemen, in order for that to happen, it is not going to happen by hope. It is not going to happen by errors and trials. It is going to happen when government take the correct approach to deal with the crime situation from a holistic standpoint in this country. And until that happens, it is until you will continue to feel the hands of the criminals, and it is until you will continue to be unsafe in this country. Because the government of the day, there is no plan to deal with the crime situation. And we just cannot sit by and just hope for the best when we have the opportunity and when we have the authority to call on the government to fix the problem. And if they cannot fix the problem, then we also have the authority to call on the government to resign. We have the constitutional authority. But until we look through the eyes, the natural eyes, to see where we are heading, putting aside bias and partisan politics, and take a position where all of us wants what is best for country. And what is best for country, ladies and gentlemen, it is not the PNM. It is not Keith Rowley. It is not Fitzgerald Hines. It is not Rohan Sinanan. It is not Stuart Young. It is not Reginald Amor and Faris Alwari. It is not Penny Beckers. It is not Brian Manning. It is not Minister Man. It is not Keith Scotland. It is not any of these individuals. We have seen the failure by every government institution and by every government minister. We have seen the failure, but yet to the end of the day, we are prepared to suffer and to eat each other and to drink each other blood and to kill each other and to steal from each other and to rob from each other than we take a stand to get rid of this government. That is the reality. We are prepared to suffer. We are prepared to do everything illegal to survive than to do the correct thing and call for the resignation of this government. This government, ladies and gentlemen, they have failed us in national security. We're starting right there. When you look at Ministry of National Security, what plan does the minister bring to the table to treat with the crime situation? Outline. Somebody tell me. If you know, somebody tell me. What plan Fitzgerald Hines or Stuart Young, while he was Minister of National Security, apart from one shot, one kill, what plan these individuals brought to the table to treat with the crime situation? Did you see Minister Hines or Stuart Young went to the Minister of Sport, bring them in, went to the Community Minister of Social Development, bring her in, went to the Minister of Works, bring them in, went to the Minister of Education, bring them in, went to the Minister of Labor, bring them in, get in touch with the criminologists, get in touch with the doctors, get in touch with the lawyers, and prepare a holistic plan to deal with the crime situation. You have not seen that. You have not seen that. You have seen a minister, whether it's Stuart Young or Fitzgerald Hines, stand up press conference after press conference and talk nothing but absolute rubbish in relation to the crime situation. Absolute rubbish. Always some sort of reaction, never proactive, some sort of reaction to every given situation. Well, we have spoken to the police, and the commissioner is here with me, and the commissioner has given his word that we are going to reduce crime, and we have put measures in place to have more police on the streets, and we have put measures in place to have patrols in hotspot area, and that is all you hear. And serious crime, it is down, and serious and murders it decrease, and all you hearing is a pack of hogwash from this minister of national security and the former minister of national security, because they have no holistic plan to deal with the crime situation. Absolutely none. When you look at disaster management from national security, what is the plan? What is the plan under the portfolio of Minister Hines? What is the plan? So they have brigade this, brigade that, meeting here, meeting there, National Security Council, meeting on this and that and whatsoever. And to the end of the day, what is the plan? Minister of Local Government and Minister of Works and Transport. Failure. Absolute failure. Abject failure. You look at your roads, you look at your river, you look at your drain. Everything in works and transport. Failure. So they get together and they prepare this team, and they will have management disaster in various corporations and so on. But guess what? I saw under the Minister of Works and Transport and the Minister of National Security, Minister of Local Government, that they put out shelters. Shelters. These are the shelters in case of flooding, in case of storm, hurricane. These are the shelters to go to. And when you look at the list that they put forward, it is a list from when donkey eye was read. Some of the shelters that they tell you to go does not exist. Some of the shelters that they're telling you are available in your community, it is not available. The Labre Community Center shelter, they tell you go there, that under construction from how long now? The Santa Flora Government School, another shelter in Labre, they tell you go there. That is a white elephant park up in School Road. So not even a proper upkeep of the list, that if something serious should really happen to this country, you could run to a shelter. It is more safer that you shelter under a tarpaulin than you listen to what these idiots and them had to tell you. When you look at social development, people continue to complain. No food card corruption. They tell you that they clean up the system because they tell you it was corruption under the UNC. So they clean up the system. And it's more corruption than anything else. More corruption than anything else. People can't get food card. People go in, no funds. People swiping the card, nothing. Picking up grocery, nothing. It's a whole mess, ladies and gentlemen. There is nothing working. Ministry of Health. Well, don't talk about the Ministry of Health. Let me even talk about them. Another failure under the Alsing. Another failure. Ministry of Agriculture, well, don't even talk about that. Don't even talk about that. So it shows that the government have no plan as to how we going forward in this country. Ministry of Finance. Well, I think that is the best ministry that operating, because every Monday morning is an increase in something and more tax in your waist. So imbot performing, imbot scraping everything out your pocket, draining everything out your pocket. So he performing. But while he performing, you suffering. And to the end of the day, we sit down as a society and we just allow all these things to happen and we do absolutely nothing about it. Absolutely nothing. And here what we will say. We will say, well, look, an election will soon come, next 3 years. And when that time reach, we know what to do. So I want to ask you a question here this evening. I want to ask you a question. So if you walk in and you walk on a nail and that nail enter your foot just about 3/8. 3/8. What you going to do? You're going to continue to walk on that nail until it comes through the top of your foot? Or you're going and take measures to take it out? If you diagnose with a problem, what are you going to do? You're going to sit down and say, boy, the problem will soon go away. Time will make the problem go away. Or you will go and look for the necessary medicine and take that treatment to ensure that the problem go away. You wouldn't do that? So then my question arises. Why when it comes to governance, you the people of this country will not stand up to ensure that we have good governance? And I speaking across the board, I speaking straight across the board. I speaking whether UNC in office or PNM in office. That is why I speaking. Why won't you people stand up to ensure that we have good governance? Why? Somebody tell me why. Why? Why in 2010 and 2015, when we had allegations, you kick up a storm, you march, you walk, you prance, you jump, you kick up a storm. Right? Remember? Everybody talking. UNC had to go. UNC had to go. Right? Allegations flying. Rowley come with a paper and tell a email looking to kill whether a journalist, whoever he or she may be. Everybody hot. Beat that on the papers for weeks. Weeks they beat it on the papers. Everybody walking up and down the country. But guess what? You know we have our worst shoes squeezing your foot. You can't even walk in the shoes. You can't even stand up in the shoes. You can't even keep the shoes on. But you know, all this still smiling. All this smiling and saying, we're going to make out, man, the shoes and really squeezing. Your foot like pepper. But you still standing up there and in doing nothing to ease that pressure from your own self. Why? Why? I can't believe that it is so bad in this country, and yet to the end of the day, all you're comfortable. I can't believe. And I ain't talking about high food prices and so on. I ain't talking about that, I ain't talking about that, I'm talking about the support. The race support is what I'm talking about. The race support is what I'm talking about. I can't believe that's so bad that all you will rather die, that all you will rather, all your children, that all you will prefer all your grandchildren to be paupers, to live in destitute, than to stand up against this government. I can't believe it's so bad. I know Somalia is sick. I know Somalia is sick. I know Somalia have it real bad. But I can't believe that the majority of this country will sit down and stand up and lie down and see what is happening to this country that you born and bred in, this country that you will live and die in. I cannot see that you people in this country will sit down and allow what is happening to happen and just hope that all you survive it. Just hope that all you survive it. I can't understand that maths at all, that maths. That formula ain't working. Because how could you as a people who suffer, who's suffering, and yet to the end of the day, you would not lift a finger in terms of serious demonstration and calling for the resignation of this government by mass numbers? You will not lift a finger to get a better life for your children. Forget you. The children that you bring in this world, you would not lift a finger to ensure that your child have a better standard of living. We have seen that the education minister speak about 9,000 to 10,000 children who couldn't make the grades. Dr. Tim Gopi Singh dealt with it on the Monday Night Forum. Who couldn't make the grades? Who fault? Who was at fault? You think your children who did not make the grade, you think they will find that grade overnight? You think that grade will drop from the sky and drop into the lap and they will be able to catch up? You think that there is some kind of injection that they could go by the doctor and get to the brain to have that brain develop and functioning and equip with the level of education that they ought to be equipped with in order to be successful in society? You think that there is an injection for that? It is no injection for that, ladies and gentlemen. It is your fault. You have allowed this government, you the people, the population, you have allowed this government to manipulate your minds, your mindset. And while they were telling you that the devices were not good for your children, it is the same devices today that you have to sort. And they were asking the private sector to purchase, to put in the hands of your children the same device that under Kamla Prasad Bisesa that Keith Rowley was saying was not good. Was not good. It is the same Keith Rowley today that was asking the private sector to contribute and help provide devices for your children during this time while your children were suffering and were not able to get an online class. One, no device, and two, well, don't talk about the Wi-Fi. That is another situation. The government did not do its job with your taxpayer money to ensure that your children would have benefited under the pandemic from online learning. They did not. And what you would do, you will blame the child. I see parents want to beat the child and parents want to fight the children. because the child couldn't have passed for a school that the parents were expecting, because the grade of the child dropped tremendously because of these 2 years that the child was not able to get that learning. It is not the child's fault. Don't try to kill the child. Don't try to abuse the child. It's not the child's fault. It is your fault, because you have not stood up against this government and demand under the pandemic. You have not demanded that the government do its job. You see, I think that some of you people believe that the money is Rowley and Stuart Young and Farris and them own. They may be very well reaping the benefit of or the majority of it, but it's not their money. That is your money. That is the money that comes from the resources of this country. That is the money that comes from your tax when you pay 20 and 25% when the money comes from your salary. That is your money. But you will want to kill the child. You will want to blame the child. You have become so heartless that you will take the blame from the government to blame your own children for not doing what the government didn't provide in order for them to do good. You will blame your child. That is what you do. You will hold your children accountable for the government mistake, for the government mismanagement. That is what we do in this country. You will hold your children responsible. So the Kamla Prasad Bisesa provided those laptops, those devices. Rowley said it wasn't good. And today we are reaping the reward of the Keith Rowley government by having over 10,000 of our children who did not make the mark. That is the reward that we reap. So don't blame the child. Don't blame the child. When you look at the cost of living, well, before we go there, when you look at what is happening in school in relation to school violence, I hear the minister recently spoke about zero, violence down to zero, violence down to zero. I think that the minister probably sleeping in the wrong house when the night come. That is what I believe. I believe she's sleeping in the wrong house. And when you sleep in the wrong house, sometimes you wake up on the wrong side. So minister, you better know who house you really want to sleep in. That is what you have to know. Because when you could stand up and come on and put out a press release that violence in school down to zero, you ought to be the biggest idiot that have for a minister. You ought to be living in some kind of, you ought to be living probably in Ukraine. Probably the Russia bomb probably interfere with your brain. Or probably the different braids that you put in your hair and the chemical that you use to have it there, maybe is what causing the problem. Or I don't know if it's let me ain't go there. Let me ain't go there. But at the end of the day, Minister Gaspy Dolly, you does not have a clue about education. You doesn't know what it takes in order to run the school system. You doesn't know what it takes in order to have the children successful in school. You doesn't know what it takes in order to produce good children, Gaspy Dolly. And I wonder why. I wonder why. We have seen under Kamla Prasad Bisesa and Tim Gopi Singh, respectively as ministers of education, we have seen some of the best figures. We have seen some of the best figures coming out from our school. So why we can have the best figures coming out from our school under Kamla and Tim Gopi Singh, but under you and Lovell, we had the worst figures? Why? Somebody tell me. Somebody tell me. Under you, Lovell and Garcia, we had the worst figures. The worst figures. I wonder why. It shows that you are incompetent of handling the ministry of education, which also takes a holistic operation in order to bring success. In order to bring success, various ministry have to be involved, just as Ministry of National Security. Under the education system, the social service have its part to play. The Ministry of Sports have its part to play. Ministry of Health have its part to play. And that is a fact. Under Kamla Prasad Bisesa, we have seen where guidance officers, not only guidance officers, we have also seen medical practitioners who was also involved. We have had under Kamla Prasad Bisesa, children were able to undergo tests when they show a certain sign, when they behave, when the behavioral pattern is in a particular way. Those children would have been able to be examined and see if by some short or some lapse during the time of birth, sometime a little lapse with oxygen, will have a child to behave in a particular way. All these is things that Kamla Prasad Bisesa had brought to the Ministry of Education, where these children would have been looked after from a professional standpoint. Children who were violent, they too were being looked at in a particular way, and they were treated in a particular way, as to avoid what we are now experiencing in the school under your ministry, under your watch. You all have cut every aspect of looking after the child within the school, and do not expect that the result that you get where children is underperforming and where children continue to be bullies and violence taking over the school system, you don't expect that will happen. And more so when you have a prime minister who is a bully, who behaves as a bully, who speaks as a bully, whose disposition is that of a bully, what you expect will happen? What you expect will happen? Children also learn by what they see. They learn by what they hear. And when you will have a prime minister who will behave unseemly, what would you expect to happen in relation to our children in the school system? And that is what we are facing today. As we go a little further, when you look at the type of violence that continue to exist within the communities, violence within the community, it is at a different level, an unprecedented level. The type of violence we are seeing today, and in the quantum in which we have now experiencing it, it is totally out of control. But what would the government, what would the minister, what would the prime minister do to look after those situations? You know what he'll do? He will ask you what you expect the police to do. Aim for your foot. That is what he tell you in a conversation with the prime minister. He say he support one shot, one kill. And what you want the police to do when people pointing gun at them? Aim for the foot. Well, the amount of people we are dead who didn't point a gun at the police, I don't know who was aiming or what they was aiming for. But the situation remains until we get down into the communities and we look at the root cause, which all of us know what is the root cause. We are aware as to what is the root cause for the type of violence that we are now experiencing within these communities. What we call the so-called hotspot communities. And a matter of fact, there is communities that was cold that is now also hot. It was cold, but it is hot. And it will continue to spread. We have seen the kind of killing take place in Erie just recently. Down in my area. Just recently. We have seen the kind of killing that is taking place in Labre proper. Recently. We have seen the kind of killing that is taking place in Faizabad. So it will keep spreading because the government does not have a plan as to deal with the situation. They don't have a plan. All these is situations that require a holistic plan. That is what is required. When you look into these communities, there is no employment, there is no sport, there is no development, there is no craft, there is nothing happening. So what you expect? Since we small, we parents used to tell us Satan will find work for idle hands to do. Since we small. So what you would expect? When a government send home the breadwinner in every family, send them home, close down. TSTT lick up, Wasa lick up, T&T going and get, Petrotrin lick up, Port lick up, everywhere lick up. What you expect will happen? What you expect will happen? You expect that everything will be nice in your community and you will, morning neighbor, and everybody will be nice and things will be very well. It wouldn't be like that, my people. It will be war. It will be survival of the fittest. That is what is now spreading throughout Trinidad and Tobago. Survival by any means necessary. And if you watch what is happening, you will realize that there is no respect for the police whatsoever. None. None. Because it's survival to the fittest. And that is what we are accepting. That is what we accepting in this country. That is what we sit quiet and allow to happen. And when something overbearing happen, then we jump out and we burn some tires and we burn some road and we block some road and so on. And we believe that that will take care of everything. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something. All you want to fix the problem in the country, to fix the problem in the country is not blocking the road. To fix the problem in the country is not saying down and do nothing. To fix the problem that we experiencing today in this Trinidad and Tobago is to get up and demand that this government resign forthwith. That is what is needed. You want to fix the problem? That is what you have to do. That is what you have to do. I am telling you, some of you will never survive. Never survive this next 3 years. If hardship in kill you, malnutrition go very well kill you. If that in kill you, crime go kill you. If crime in kill you, stress go kill you. If stress in go kill you, you will just drop down and dead. If you believe that the next 3 years you could survive it, you only wasting time in this country. Wasting time in this country. That is what you're doing. We have seen this government, ladies and gentlemen. We have seen this government behave in the worst way. In the worst way. This government have no respect for law and order. And when a government have no respect for law and order, what you expect? This government doesn't care about you, the citizens. This government don't care about the working class, much less the unemployed. They don't care about the working class, much less the unemployed. This government will do what they have to do, and they don't care who survive or who die. They don't care if you could pay a bill or not. They don't care if the bank take your property or not. They don't care if you cannot open your business. They don't care if you can't put fuel in your car. They don't care. You think them care about you? If you think they care about you, you fooling yourself. Welcome, caller.
Mr. Robert, good night, good night. Good night to whoever's there, if it's Corky or whoever it is there, good night.
Good night.
Mr.
Archie here with
Robert,
me.
You know, I wonder if other people remember. 2010, when the People Partnership government won the election, you all remember when Mrs. Bicester was sworn in and she was leaving the building. Such a journalist come outside and approach her to ask her questions and talk with her. And the security said no. She said, no, leave them. I will talk with them.
Yeah.
She spoke with the journalist. She didn't want to kill them. She spoke with the journalist. She gave them respect. And when she left there, she went home and put on her boots. And she went to help people who had all the flooding going on.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I hope everybody remember that. She didn't want to kill no journalists. She didn't want to kill them. She talked to the journalists. She didn't get her like a bully, like a raging bull. And I remember a fellow who was come and work for us tell us one day when the People Partnership government was in government. He said, oh God, I went home and I see Mommy dancing. I asked you, what you dancing for? He said, son, I get $100 extra on my pension. Those were the days people could think back and be comfortable in their house and could feed the children and could pay the bill. Mr. Robert, these days, people stretching your money like elastic. Yeah? Anyway, you have a blessed night and God bless you and take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you, ma'am. They don't care about you. They don't care if you survive. They do not care if you survive. And while you cannot survive, they are benefiting, eating, drinking, having a time. They don't care. But we sit down in this country like lambs just waiting to be slaughtered. Slaughtered by the government, slaughtered by the criminal element. That is what we're doing. We just sit down waiting. Who knows who turn next? Who knows? Who knows when you're going to the gas station, that might be your last day. Who knows when you're going to the grocery, you may not be able to walk out. That is as bad as it is. Someone tell me in the market in Sipra, people have to hold the basket or tie to them. Because they say when you rest on your basket in the market to buy something else, sometimes when you buy and you go to drop the 2 potatoes in your basket, it drop on the ground. Somebody gone with your basket already? That is as serious as it is. That is as serious as the thing is. And all we studying to do is to talk foolishness and to talk about Kamala like Kamala running the government. Like Kamala running the government. People of Trinidad and Tobago, you have an option. You have an option. And the option you have is either you get up and get or you sit down and die. That is the option. That is the only option you have in this country. Get up and get or sit down and die. Welcome, caller.
Good night, sir. Good night.
Good night. Good night.
Mr. Robert, you are doing a very wonderful job. Don't worry. The lady who just called, and she said people surviving and the money is running like elastic, she is very, very correct. People really see trouble in this country. I'm telling you that. Thank you, Mr. Robert.
Thank you, caller. You have a next one, Yach? All right, the number is 3735488. 3735488. Right? You want to make a contribution, you could call in. So you have an option, people. We have an option. And we just can't sit down and allow it to go as it going. We can't. We would not survive it. We are going to lose one way or the other. And the sad thing, if you lose by crime, well then you're gone. But when you lose by governance, it is a lifetime of disaster for your generation. Not just you. Not just you. Every bad decision that this government make, and trust me, from 2015 to now, that is what we gain. Every bad decision that this government make it will affect your children and grandchildren. Everyone, every government, every decision that this government make, it will affect you. Welcome, caller.
Yes, Silva. Good night. Silva.
Fox, good night. Good night.
Yes. Now, the people of Trinidad also to go like we don't like this. We don't like this. We don't like this. Because I can't see. Because Rowley is a black man. They're taking anything. He shoved down the throat and not fighting back. They're not fighting back because Rowley is a black man. Look at Fitzgerald Hines. He's a Minister of National Security, right? When you watch Fitzgerald Hines, he always sleeping like he had a hard night. The man always sleeping, he have a hard night. Them is any government. Rowley talking to people how he wants, buffing up this one, buffing up that one. Rowley is any statesman. Why the people of this country is allowing all stupidness to happen to them? And look, the children, look how much fail. Look how much fail. He taking with children for fool. That is what Rowley and them doing.
Correct.
They brainwash education because they want a voting bank. So these children would not be educated just because of a voting bank.
Correct.
What's going on?
Correct.
And parents and them sit down there and they're blaming the children. It's the fault. All of us parents is the fault of what's taking place in this country right now.
Yes, sir.
We're sick. We need to go to the madhouse. The whole of Trinidad and Tobago need to go to the madhouse because all of we like we mad. Thank you.
Thank you, Fox. And Fox, you are correct. You are correct. It's not the children to blame. You are correct. It's not the children to blame. It's we to blame. Because we condoning what is happening. We condoning this government in office. We condoning the behavior that we experiencing. We condoning the thieving that is taking place. We condoning the corruption. We condoning it. You watch every minister is a fancy Porsche. A fancy Porsche. All of them have. Who in our one had two. Who bringing it tax free and still selling it when the law debarred them from doing that. Everybody having a time. Everybody having a time in government. Welcome, caller.
Good evening, Mr. Robert.
Good day, sir.
Yeah, truth. I hope the Fox from the still listening. Through you, I want to ask him a question. Mr. Fox from Tobago, does Rowley speak to Tobagonians in the way he speaks to Trinidadians? A yes or no will be good enough. Thank you.
Thank you, caller. All of them driving a pretty Porsche, pretty nice car. Who are $2, who are $3 million vehicle, and you can't even pay your rent. You can't even pay your rent. You can't even buy food. You can't even provide an education for your children. You can't even provide extra lessons. You can't even provide extra lessons for your same child who didn't do so good in this term. You cannot pay to send your children to school. You cannot. But to the end of the day, they sit in government and their family is well taken care of. Prestige school for them. It matters not what's the price. Welcome, caller.
Yes, the Fox here. I come to answer the question. Rowley can't talk to we into like how we talk to all in Trinidad. Because Rowley know we like him and insult, even though any way they're going to insult in front of anybody we insult him. So Begonians are different to all here. All you making him buff all the car buff in Tobago. When he come here, you smile. When he's hungry, you have a hawk face. Thank you.
All right, Fox. So I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen, why we allowing this in this country Is it to say that we are so weak? Is it to say that we are so weak that we have lost all our moral values in this society? Is it to say that we have lost our manhood and our womanhood? What is wrong with us? And by the way, let me just say this one time. Rowley can't talk to me so. Let me just say that one time. He could talk to them. He could talk to them who he want to talk to so. He can't talk to me so. Because I put him in the place quick and early. Quick and early. And all alone who know me, know I don't afraid to talk. Full respect. But I put him in the place early o'clock. That is how I does operate. I don't afraid to talk. No time, no day. So folks are on your side. Can't talk to me so. So they're living above the pay grade. They're living above the pay grade. They're billion stories. $1 billion property they're billing. While you can't even build 2 piece of plyboard. Welcome, caller. Caller, we in here and your phone getting some trouble. Right. They billing $1 billion property off of your taxpayer dollar. We have seen Stuart Young family who just the other day could have hardly buy a good shoot. Now you making joke. It's millions upon millions, it's billions upon billions. And we just sit down in this country like some sheep. Welcome, caller.
Good night, Mr. Roberts. It's too much a race going on in this country. That's why it's going to too much a race.
Thank you, caller. And that is where we are. That is where we are. They're doing everything off of your taxpayers' money. The family benefiting. Alwari getting rent. Alwari wife getting brief from the government. And brief is a big word to tell you that she making money off of the government. She getting job. She getting work from the government. At one time, Alwari said not from his ministry, but some from whoever ministry. So they're bathing in money, and you can't buy food. Welcome, caller.
Yeah, good night, Mr. Victor Roberts.
Good night, sir.
I like the topic you're talking about there, about pay and all kind of thing, you know, because people like to be paid for when they do the work. So I want to ask you how much pay you're getting for working for the UNC. I want to know, because I want to come and work for the UNC too. I like the work you're doing, and I'm sure you have to be getting a good amount of pay. The UNC have to like what you're doing, and so I know they're going to be paying you real handsome, Mr. Roberts. So let me hear from you now. If you're getting good pay, so I could join you and I could come and start to work for the UNC too to get some nice money.
Well,
a good pay. Right, Mr. Roberts.
Well, caller, let me answer you. Let me take this caller. I go answer that caller just now. Welcome, caller.
Hello, good evening, Mr. Robert.
Yes, sir. Good day.
You remember when during the Canada government, and then Ram Logan was the AG, and he was being interviewed by Dominic Ali-Passad. And he pulled rank, and Dominic had to put him in his place and tell him, don't be rude and be humble up. The reporter should have the testicular fortitude. I'm sorry I was not a reporter, you know, and you see what you said, I agree with you. I would have asked the questions, and Rowley could not be rude to me. and he's not supposed to be pointing at people with that arrogant, foolish attitude. He have to remember he is the chief public servant. All the best.
Thank you, Kola. Kola, let me answer you. Let me answer you one time. You see Victor Roberts sit down here on this chair? All what Victor Roberts doing it on his own merit. You hear what I'm telling you, Kola? Victor Roberts doing all what he doing on his own merit. And let me help you. Victor Roberts do not get a salary from the UNC. Victor Roberts do not get a salary from any MP in the UNC. Victor Roberts do not get a salary from any senator in the UNC. Victor Roberts doesn't get any salary from any councillor, any alderman, or anybody else. You see what Victor Roberts do here? Victor Roberts do on his own merit, and Victor Roberts do it on behalf of country. I am a lifetime member of the UNC. I joined the UNC based on the policies that I saw Kamla Prasad Bisesa brought to the table. I want to make it clear, absolutely clear. I joined the UNC based on those policies. And when I examine the policies of Kamala Prasad Bisesa and I compare those policies with the 47 years of PNM rule, I decide that I am going to join the UNC as a lifetime member. And that is what I did. And going forward, from there on, all that I do, on whatever platform, on whatever street, on whatever road, Victor Roberts do it on his own merit. So if you believe you want to come and join the UNC to get a salary that you believe I get in, then wrong place for you, my brother. Welcome, caller.
Mr. Robert.
Yes, sir.
I want to tell him, I want to ask you a question. Come to ask you a question. I want to ask him, how much money did PNM give him to call you to ask you stupid question? Have a good night.
Thank you, caller. Thank you very much, caller. So all who feel that Victor Roberts getting some kind of pay to do what he doing, Victor Roberts doing what he doing on behalf of his party and on behalf of his country. That is what Victor Roberts doing. And Victor Roberts going and say something that people that vex with, and it doesn't matter. Victor Roberts always put country first. That is me. Always put country first. Welcome, caller.
Hi, Mr. Roberts. Good night.
Good night, sir.
Right. This is the caller from today.
Yes,
from
sir.
Last night.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes. When I was clearing up my issues, the phone cut off. I don't know what happened. But what I was saying, just to pick up from last night, right? I was saying that the office of the president, as far as I am concerned, and this is my personal view, it's not written in stone, it's just my view. I believe very much that the post should be removed from off the books because I don't see the need for that post. The amount of resources that is pumped in that direction could be used other places, right? That is the office in general. But I took umbrage with the current president and her conduct, especially with the issue with the Police Service Commission, where she knowingly broke the law. Somebody who came from the ranks of high law, studied abroad, represented abroad, know that law, especially with regards to independent institutions, should not be tampered with. So she's now what foot she didn't know come along. She a wrong long time and she knows what is right and wrong. Yet she facilitated the Prime Minister in breaking the law against one of the most important institutions in the country. Look at the condition of the crime rate in Trinidad and Tobago as we speak because of that bad decision that was made by not ensuring that Mr. Griffith went back as police commissioner. Mm-hmm. Because he had his flaws, he wasn't perfect. But I guarantee you, if he was police commissioner today, the amount of nonsense that was going on with him would not be going on right now. I guarantee you, because he had the criminals on the run. They respect him. Not this present police commissioner we have who is a yes man, who do have a clue about what's going on.
Correct.
So that is the point I was trying to make yesterday. I was saying that I had issue with the office of the president. I think that should be removed. But I also had issue with the current president because of the conduct. In any other first world country in the world, she would have had to resign because of the part she played in the collapse of the Police Service Commission. Have a nice night.
Yep, yes, Tobago. I get you. I get you last night. I understand clearly what you were saying. But thanks for clearing it up so the caller will understand what's your position. Right. So back to the topic here now. So the bottom line is that these individuals, they're benefiting from your taxpayer dollar. And while they're benefiting, all of them making money. The family making money. Every single one of them family benefiting. So why it's only one group of people that benefit in this country from the public purse? Welcome, caller.
You see Marlene McDonald case. But the Chief Justice is going to he's going to take up tire. Take it from me.
I'm going to call out. They wait for me to call, sir.
Hello, good night.
Yeah, good night.
This is Mr. Arabat.
Yes, sir.
How are you, sir?
I'm fine.
Well, it's time for Trinidad and know that to be going and do stupidness. Because we have a president in Trinidad, Trinidad and Tobago, and like we have no president because we does not hear nothing at all about you. We does not hear nothing about the president. And that is not right because the president of Trinidad and Tobago, what this minister of finance doing, she's supposed to put right from wrong and you're not hearing nothing about you. You mean, you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, of course, caller.
So I don't know what office she holds as a president. She should resign and go and sit down. You're not saying nothing at all about the president.
Correct.
Like we have no president in Trinidad and Tobago.
Thank you, caller.
Yeah, you have a nice night, man.
And caller, let me tell you this. You will not. You see, I feel this is my own personal feeling. I feel that the president now recognize the big mistake that she made in relation to that merit list. And I think that if I am right that she recognized that mistake, then I think that the president is totally ashamed of allowing herself to be influenced by the prime minister and make a mess of the office of the president, something that we have never seen in this way. We have seen blunders in the office of the president, because I remember we had an issue with Camona, with wine and wine bottle and what. I know we also had an issue with Robinson in relation to spiritual and moral values. So we had some challenges in the office of the president. But never we have seen it so blatant. Never we have seen this type of conspiracy that exists within the office of the president that caused the collapse of an entire independent institution as the Police Service Commission. We have never seen that. And I would have believed that given time and the president have seen her mistake and seen her blunder, I think two things should have been forthcoming. One was the president being president enough to admit that a blunder was made, and two, offer your resignation to Trinidad and Tobago. I thought those two things would have been forthcoming in order to bring back some sanity and dignity to the office. But once the president continue to sit in the office of the president, that office will be tarnished, that office will carry that name, and that office is now in disrepute because of the conduct and because the president have allowed herself to be influenced by an idiot who we have for our prime minister, who believe that bullying, and I believe he may be really bully the president too, you know. I feel he may be really bully the president too. He may be say, hey, I make this appointment, you know, I select you, and if you want our next term, I don't know, probably. If you want our next term, you have to rock the rhythm. Probably, I don't know. But at the end of the day, the president disgrace that office. And once the president sits there, that disgrace will continue to exist. So if I was in the president's shoes, two things would have happened: an apology and my resignation. That is what the country should have demanded. But again, we allow the wrong to be right, and we allow the right to be swept under the carpet. That is what we encourage in Trinidad. And I ain't saying Tobago, in Trinidad, that is what we encourage. And that is the way we conduct business. And that is why Foster Cummins and Camille Robinson Regis and Faris Alwari and all of those could have all these allegations hanging and swinging over their heads and feel that everything is all right, because the people in the country make it all right. The people in the country allow it to be all right. The people in the country supports what is going on. And when we allow that to happen, what would eventually happen is the children who continue to look on, the children who we believe is not educated enough and does not have common sense to understand what is happening up here. Let me tell you something. The children is much more smarter than some of you adults. Much more smarter. They IT savvy. They're on top of the game. So when you believe that the children do not understand what you support, then you better think again. And that is why the children have now become rebellious. Because they see mommy and daddy support the wrong thing and then try to punish them for supporting the same thing that mommy and daddy support. When you support the wrong thing in your home, when you allow the wrong thing to happen in your home and you support it, you cannot speak to your children after that. When you allow your children to do the wrong thing and you benefit, you cannot speak to your children after that. When you do the wrong thing and your children benefit, you still can't talk to them. So when you believe you could tell your children, son, well, daddy had to do this in order to buy a tin of milk, right? So daddy really had to go and thief the neighbor bunch of plantain and sell it to buy the tin of milk for you. Don't believe when that child thief something, you could correct him. You can't. And that is the downfall of us in Trinidad. We continue to allow the wrong thing and we support the wrong thing. We support the wrong thing. You will see people on radio station defending the wrong thing. You will see people in media houses defending the wrong thing and trying to disguise the wrong thing to have you believe what you are seeing, which is wrong, have you to read into it as though it is right. That is what is happening. So you will see the Prime Minister doing the wrong thing, and because he do it with a disposition, and because he do it in a way in which to make you laugh, then you support it. Because his disposition seems to be what you will entertain. You know, he might shake up and stumble a little bit at the words, you know, tell you, where you feel? Stop right there. And let me advise you, stop right there. I'm not going down that road with you. You know, we take that as something good. We take that as, yeah, the prime minister, yeah, man, the man on top of things. He don't care about them journalists. That is how we take it. But we would not look at the question that the journalist was posing to the prime minister. We would not look at the question. We don't even want to hear the question. And the question was simple. Did you do your due diligence before appointing Reginald Amor? But the question was not important to us. The reaction and the behavior of the prime minister is what was important. So the question could go under the carpet, but the action of the prime minister, that is what we support. And he said, boy, you're only playing with them, boy. You feel you only care about them. Not knowing that Rowley just using that strategy to distract your intellect so that you cannot recognize what is happening by his behavior. Welcome, caller.
Good night, Mr. Victor, Robert, Archie, and any of your co-hosts. First of all, I want to talk about the Bail Amendment Bill. It was passing strange. The independent PNM Senator Vera absent himself from the voting of the bill. I wonder why. He always wants to remain a senator aligned to the PNM, so he didn't want to show them what is right. He take a back seat and he run away. No. Look what's happening in the British Parliament. You see what causing the commotion and I suspect the fall of Boris Johnson. He had a MP, assistant chief whip. You know what he was using his hands in a bar. So I want to dedicate a song for all our MPs, particularly those in Port of Spain, East, North, West, and South. And the tune is by Rose. You know Rose, Collector Rose, Queen of the Rose? She sing a song, I'm looking for a young boy. So let me play that song sometime when you get time now. I'll go and have a nice night.
Thank you, caller. And that is what people accept. You watch something. Watch the people who support the PNM. You watch the people who support the PNM. Some of them living down by me. And let me tell you something. Some of them actually living below the poverty level. Below the poverty level. I'm speaking about below the poverty level. And to the end of the day, here what they do with some of them. They put them in a nice woman's wear. And they put them in a URP office. And they give them a pen and a paper and tell them, sit down by that desk and take some name and do this and that. And let me tell you something. The salary that they get, they can't even buy food. But yet to the end of the day, they are comfortable. They are comfortable. The salary that they get in, they can't buy food. But yet they're comfortable. When you look at at some of them and the way in which they conduct themselves, you will amazed to know. You will amazed to know. Some of them is actually like, nah. Let me leave that alone. Yeah, let me leave that alone. But some of them is under tremendous amount of pressure. And guess what? They tend to believe that they are comfortable. And let me tell you the danger with that. Let me tell you the danger with that. When you are comfortable doing the wrong thing, when you are comfortable doing the wrong thing, you could never be happy to do the right thing. Never. To do the right thing, it will be like a challenge. It will be like you're going against your spirit. And that is what happened with some of them who supports the PNM. They know they're supporting the wrong thing. They know that they're supporting the wrong thing. But hear what? I remember one tell me, I ain't mind voting UNC, but I go lost my little URP work. Welcome, caller.
Victor, how are you, my brother?
I'm fine.
Again, I echo on this thing that coming from me or from the radio there.
Oh, you're still getting it or you good now?
All right, Right. Victor, I sent Archie. Anyway, good night, Archie. Good night, Corky. Good night to all the people at Trinidad and Tobago.
Good night, Mr. Kun Kun.
Give a little volume there, much.
Archie, I sent you a video, right? With what is currently happening in the UK Parliament with Boris Johnson. I want you to run that video. It's a 3-minute video.
Uh-huh.
And I want you to watch that, Victor, and tell me if you've seen any similarities on what it is happening in Trinidad and what the British people and the British parliamentarian, especially the ones in the cabinet of the government, is doing in Britain, which is a real country. Trinidad, as you know, is not a real country. And we have a lot of eat-a-food cabinet ministers who are afraid of Rowley and they do not want to go up against him. Take a look at the video. I will be locked on, listening, and we could have a debate on that and look at the similarities of what it is happening there and what we face in Trinidad and Tobago. Good night.
Good night. Thank you, brother.
All right, yeah, we got the video. I'll run it there soon.
Right, so you go run it when you're ready, Archie, and we go look at it. So one actually tell me, Mr. Roberts, I want to support you, but I feel UNC win, I go lost my little URP work, and that all I have. So it's not to say that the people it's not to say that they don't know what is right, but because they are benefiting from what is wrong, they rather stay within the ways of the wrong and satisfy themselves than to turn to the way of the right and satisfy the whole country. That is what is happening. They rather stay in the wrong and satisfy themselves than to turn to the right and satisfy the whole country and their family. And that is a dangerous precedent, a dangerous level of selfishness, a dangerous level. And when you hear you are a selfish person or you are a self-centered person, then it matters not what is going on next door by you. It matters not. What you are concerned about is self and self alone. And that is basically what the government is doing. This government, they are self-centered, they concern about self, and that they have no problem doing the wrong thing to ensure that they continue to benefit from the wealth of the country, while they will use the base to remain in power. Because let me tell you something. You think these people who really work in URP and so on, you think these people are them really comfortable? You think they're comfortable? You think that these people can really provide food to feed themselves and their children and pay the bill? They cannot. They cannot. But at the end of the day, there's a methodology where we believe that, look, it's better hold on to something than hold on to nothing. And while that may be a good way for you, you have to weigh the outcome of that. You have to put the scale there and weigh it and see if what you are holding on to, when you believe that you are holding on to something, you have to weigh it out and see if you're really holding on to something or what you're holding on to is absolutely nothing. That is what you have to do. And you could very well be holding on to something that have no value, but you're holding on. You're holding on. And that is what the PNM supporter, that is what they are doing. They are holding on, believing that they're holding on to something when there is no value for them and no value in their life and no value to raise the standard of living, no value to mind the children, no value to give the children an education, no value to have a comfortable home to live in. But yet still they believe that they're holding on to something. They believe they're holding on to something, and they have been holding on to that for years and still living in the same condition that they were living in from inception. From the beginning of holding on, they are still living in that condition. No upliftment, none whatsoever. And I am wondering how people cannot see these things. Why you can't see the condition that you are in. Why you cannot see the condition that this government have you in. Why you cannot see the condition that you are in from year go, year come. You are still in that condition. And a matter of fact, you are even worse off now than you was when you now hold on. Because when you hold on at the first instant, you believe that there is something that will work for you, where you will get a job and you will be able to provide and rebuild your home and buy some little motor car where you could move around and pay your bills and so on. Only to realize that you have held on for all these years, and to date you cannot pay a bill, you cannot buy a car, you cannot refurbish your house, you cannot even buy food. But yet you are still holding on. What you are holding on to? What you are really holding on to, you are just holding on to straw, because that is how the PNM treat you. The PNM treats you as a straw. Today you're here and tomorrow you can simply blow away. Today you are valuable for them and tomorrow you are an outcast. And if you don't believe me, you could ask some of the people who were there before you. Today you can be there and tomorrow you is just a number. That is what they have done with McClatchy and all those who they have put to represent you. They are just a number in the parliament to keep the government alive. They don't look after your interests. McClatchy looking after your interests. McClatchy bringing employment to you. McClatchy improving your standard of living. What McClatchy doing? What your MP doing for you in Library? What your MP doing for you in all the PNM constituencies? Are you seeing a different standard of living? Is your life increasing for the better or your life deteriorating for the worse? That is what is happening. That is what is going on. Welcome, caller.
Good night. I'll call back again. You hear me?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Right. I was hearing something on the news tonight, right? And I find this is very stupid and delinquent for that PNM health man. Now, hear what he's saying. People over 60 are still wear masks. And when you go to the health center, you still have to wear masks. That man is a very brutish man. Because you know why I got to tell that? It's like you try to kill out all the old people in Trinidad and Tobago. It's the young people who party and go here and there supposed to wear the mask. The most the old people them do is go to the bank, draw their NIS, draw their old age, go to the grocery and go back home. Old people don't mix up. It's the young people but like you want to kill out all the old people them, so they don't want to pay no old age and no NIS. Mr. J.R. Singh is a very wicked man, and all the PNM people is very wicked. Coming from the Minister of National Security, right down to the last one. Everybody in the PNM, they should get them a fire or throw them in the sea, because none of them is no good and they're not thinking positive, they're thinking negative. You have a pleasant night, sir.
All right, caller, don't get vexed. I know they get you mad, but yeah. And caller, let me just tell you this. You are right. The PNM have no vision for this country. The PNM have no vision. The PNM is just guessing and trying, and if it sound good or if it work out good, and if they get you, they get you. But it's so sad to see that all they have been doing so far is working negatively for the population. Let's look at the video that Vishnu speak about it actually.
Political upheaval in London. We're looking live at 10 Downing Street, where more high-level resignations this morning have sent the Boris Johnson government into turmoil again and left the British Prime Minister's leadership hanging by a thread again. Let's go to Ashley Burke in London. A wild 24 hours it has been, Ashley. More resignations this morning on top of the defections yesterday by some of Johnson's top cabinet ministers. How did it all unfold?
Well, Heather, take a look at the headlines that have splashed across London newspaper stands this morning. They are describing a prime minister on the brink. And they question if this is the end game for Boris Johnson, or is it his last chance? Even asking if he can wriggle out of it. Now, the big question today is, can Johnson survive and how long? Some conservatives today are coming to Johnson's defense and saying, while they admit that there's some turmoil in the party, Johnson's here to stay. Take a listen.
Well, I'm fully supportive of the Prime Minister. I think that he is the right man for the job. He has a very significant mandate from the British people. He won a majority of 80 only just over 2.5 years ago. And these sort of squalls happen in politics, but the best politicians carry on.
Now, these resignations are tied to the accumulation of scandals, and the latest crisis centers around what Johnson knew about sexual misconduct claims against MP Chris Pincher before appointing him deputy whip. Initially, Downing Street denied Johnson had known, but yesterday that story changed, and Johnson apologized for promoting Pincher. But since then, as you mentioned, there have been a series of resignations that have followed those two key ones. Mostly these have been junior ministers, and the latest this morning is the Minister for Children and Families. And so far, there are only signs that Johnson remains defiant, and that if it's up to him, he's not going anywhere.
The future, very uncertain. What is the opposition saying about the latest crisis?
Well, Johnson's supporters are coming out and defending him, saying that he took responsibility over this scandal and that he delivers as a leader. Shadow Chancellor Rachel Reeves said that she disagrees. She argued this morning that Johnson has, quote, corrupted the Conservative Party. She's calling for a fresh start. She accuses ministers of MPs in being complicit in all of this. And she says that she welcomes these resignations, but questions why it took so long. Now, Johnson is expected to take questions in Parliament today as questions swirl around if he can hold on.
Ashley, thank you very much. A big story you'll be watching for developments for us. We'll look forward to updates as we look live once again at 10 Downing. And yes, the cameras are there awaiting Boris Johnson's departure for Westminster. Prime Minister questions, as always, on Wednesday. They begin in the 7 o'clock Eastern hour. So we'll be watching and listening in as well. It is possible that his two top ministers who resigned may make some sort of resignation statement today. We will hear what kind of calls there are from the opposition, already welcoming a general election. So much to watch for today in London and the UK, and we will do so with you this morning.
So Archie, right away as C. Foster comments. Right away as C. Foster comments. And I also see the Police Service Commission, because remember what they tell us, They tell us that, look, the Police Service Commission collapsed and they appoint a new one, so let's move on. You hear what somebody, the supporters saying here? Boris, he accept responsibility, so let's move on. And the other thing, sexual scandal, since before he make the appointment, we have a special branch report. Since in 2019, before Keith Rowley make the appointment, you see the difference with them and us? And that is why I keep saying that the PNM MPs, they are just as guilty as the Prime Minister and everybody else. You know why? Because none of them, not one of these MPs, will stand up and denounce what Keith Rowley did in relation to Foster comments and what is happening in this country. None of them. Not Beckers, not Manning, not Sinanan, not Stuart Young, not Alwari, not Pinal Dubal. None of them. So that is the big difference. That is the big difference. Welcome, caller.
Good night, Mr. Roberts.
Yes, sir. Good night.
Well, what I have to say is that if it is the Prime Minister and the Minister of National Security and the police could ignore the Judith Jones report, obviously she is seen as incompetent, maybe senile, even maybe a UNC. How then, in heaven's name, can we trust her to head the Police Service Commission? This is not a step in here.
Mm-hmm.
This is madness.
Correct.
She cannot be trusted.
Correct.
Her credibility has gone into disrepute. She is a flawed individual who obviously tendered a biased report that everybody in authority, that is dismissed as frivolous. The hell with them, Sharon. They don't get better. They don't get big. And we keep going around in circles with all kind of other distractions, like dumb, dotish Fitzgerald Hines, who can't seem to understand that the bail bill will expose magistrates and judges who go beyond the call of duty to grant bail to serial criminals. And then we could weed them out. That bail will just protect judges and magistrates from themselves because they can't grant bail. But the fellow in the Andrea Barrett Bacchanal's murder, rape, and disposal was on some 75 different charge and on bail for all. They investigate how he get that bail yet. Mr. Robert, we really serious? What the only recommendation I could make, and I'm pleading with the PNM supporters in particular, when they call the local election and they come by your house to campaign, hide away your children from it, please. Please hide away your children from these PNM people. You know, it ain't going to be right to expose your children to that kind of people. Oh, God, man. Have a heart now. Love your own children now. I mean, I tell you, vote for your party. Vote for your party. You can't help yourself, vote for your party. But hide your children from them when they come wrong, please. You know? All right.
Thank you,
so listen, you remember the fellow who daughter get carried to go and see a piece of land that a big shot minister now going and buy and interfere with the child and she gone back. She father is a lawyer. He failed this country. He had a right to put that man before the court, and this country would have saved all now. This country would have saved. But he's a failure.
Of course, scholar.
You know what the next question we have to ask? Any practicing attorney have an NIS number or a border inland revenue number? Any private practice attorney at law have a NIS number or a BIR number?
Well,
but them know everything. Them have all the solutions. Them know all the problems. Them have all the fix. But which one of them paying tax when they charge them little black boy $500,000 and the next one $2 million and they go on to take the property? How much are them paying tax? How much are them paying NIS? And they want to solve white collar crime. Like I just tell all you to go and look for all of them who not paying the tax and all of them things. And it's easy to find out, you know. Real easy to find out. Just go in the court and get all them transcripts, see who they represent, and get involved in what they charge, what the fees are like. Easy. And then let it come in and say some amnesty tax because all of them owe in tax. All of them, none of them are paying NIS. But as a 60, they will go and try to see how they can manipulate the system to get money.
Thank you, caller.
You're welcome, sir.
Yeah. And I think they should take the caller advice and hide the children. But not only when they come into campaign, you know. hide all the children when they call the family day. You see when they call them family day in Eddie Gong? That is where the predators, that is where they just come out in the numbers. So when you hear the dressing up people in sari and all kind of thing in Eddie Gong and feel they could papi show the people of this country, the predators and them, that is where they just be, that is where they come in. That is where they come in and they making friend and they telling you, you have a nice boy. This boy will be a prime minister, you know, he's very bright. And this boy, this and that boy, that time you know what they're marking? You know what they're marking? That is where they just market children. That is where they'll become friendly with the parent. And then they just start to invite you. They just start to invite you to functions. Welcome, caller. Welcome, caller.
Hello, good night.
Yes, caller, good night.
Yeah,
Caller, we need any at all.
I can have feedback. I can have a bad feedback.
Well, you have to listen on the phone. If you're on a radio or a TV, you have to turn it off or mute it and listen on the phone.
I'll listen on the phone.
Well, you have to move away if you're close to the radio or the TV.
Okay, I will call it. Let me call you back.
Right, no problem. That is where they just go and meet you, and then they start to invite you to function. And they started telling you about they have this going on, they have a swimming class, and they had this, and the boy looking brilliant, and they questioning what he like, what sport he like, where everything. And then when they hear they make contact, they start to move with the children and carry them here and carry them there and eat fancy food and buy nice things for the parent. That is how the thing does start. And when the things start there, boy, they lick up your children. Lick up your children. You see that PNM family there, if all they know what good for all you, keep all the children far from that PNM family day that they just keep in the heart ground. You hear what I'm telling you? Keep them far. Welcome, caller.
Welcome, Victor Roberts.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I have a burning issue since a very long time that I want to discuss. You know, it's concerning somebody who works in legal department.
Mm-hmm.
Her name is Renuka Sagram Singh. You know, I was disturbed about what she said about that bail bill. Another thing, could you remember when she said at one time that she was the only Hindu woman that the PNM government had? Well, she is not a Hindu. If she was a Hindu, she would have get the hell out of the PNM party. She put that red cinder on her head. You know what she should have done? Take that cinder off, because that is something a Hindu people respect. They cherish women.
So, caller, hold up.
Take that red cinder off.
Caller.
And rub that mark on her head.
Caller.
In black.
Caller, hold up a minute.
Yeah.
Caller, you hear me?
Yeah, I'm here, yeah.
Right. So I don't want us to discuss the lady religion. Whether or not she's a Hindu or whatever, I don't want us to discuss that. Let me discuss the issue and leave the religion out.
Yeah, but Victor, I'm a Hindu. And I could tell you the significance of that red thing on her forehead, on her head.
Right, caller, listen.
Yeah, man, yeah.
Caller, listen here, go ahead.
Okay. Let's get back to the discussion. Another thing is that remember that when they dress a woman or a man in yellow and they disrobe that person, why don't she get a red saree with some validate tree drawn on it and go in the square and get disrobed? You know, she doesn't have any shame. You know, she doesn't have any shame. You know, because she has brought disrepute to women, especially of a certain class. And she She just go and bathe herself in a pool and molasses.
All right, caller, thank you.
Okay?
Yes. So keep all the children away from that family day. See that family day? Keep them away. So while the caller tell you when they come into campaign, hide them for good, eh? Welcome, caller. Right. So let me get back to a topic the caller before this one was talking about. And I tell you when I now start that I keep trying to figure out why would this government not do anything with this pedophile report? Why would and that is what beaten me. That is what I tried to dig to see if I could find the answers as to why something of this nature will come to the head of the government, the head of the cabinet, and why nothing would be done. Welcome, caller. Why nothing would be done? That is what beaten me for days now. Because I can't help but see the urgency and see the need for something to be going on to protect these children. And we may very well get some information very, very soon. We may very, very, very well get some information as to what's still taking place in them homes.
That is correct, Victor. Someone came to the studio today, and he was a former, up to recently, like last week, working at one of these children home, and he was appalled at the type of sexual abuse and the type of abuse that is taking place currently. And he was so fed up, he left that job, and he's willing to come back to the studio to have an interview with you to let you know of some of the kinds of sexual abuse and how it is done and the process in which it is done. And it is still happening today. He showed me his phone that he receiving messages of things that are happening and complaints from some of the children in the home complaining to him directly. And he's willing to come back to your show sometime this week to expose some of the happenings in these children homes.
My God. My God. People are understanding what happening. Are you understanding what going on as we speak? As we speak, are you understanding what going on? It's just a day we get that information. A gentleman was working there up to as last week. And I keep telling earlier that this thing's still going on with children, them bawling and crying when the night reach. And we have that prime minister that put down this document, people. Put down this document. Welcome, caller.
Good night, Mr. Roberts. Is it something in the DNA? Is it the direct descendants of Boko Haram? Boko Haram in Nigeria just go and kidnap whole school children in schools and keep them for years until they get pregnant and then let them go in the forest. That is the kind of people we have here running this country.
Oh, Lord, boy.
I'm telling you, where is this so-called God is a Trinity? He must run from here because it's the pedophile behavior here. This thing nasty to heaven. Boy. And again, I will remind all you, hide all your children. keep them away from them predators. Because that's all they're interested in. They ain't interested in nothing else. Don't sell your child for KFC or Royal Castle or 2 doubles by sauce. Don't do that. That ain't right. You know? Maybe they should really legalize abortion, you know, because an unwanted fetus results in an unwanted child, results in a child going into a home, and them predators waiting for them. So maybe they should really legalize abortion, because the same Catholic Church that opposing abortion is the same Catholic Church who we entrust most of them to take care of. And what is the result? They are being abused. They are being sexually abused. And then at age 18, they're being left out as adults to support themselves. How? How are they intended to support themselves?
Thank you, brother.
The female's going to walk the streets and the male's going to get guns? Is that's what we're doing?
Thank you, caller. Boy, actually, like I get speechless. Yes, I can't understand what's going on in this country, boy. I can't understand what's going on with the commissioner, police, and them, boy. I can't understand. So wait now, like Jacob waiting for Rowley to tell he when to go by the home, when to interview people, when to investigate. I lost. Welcome, caller.
Hello.
Welcome, caller.
I from the West Corridor, right? I heard you speak about Lavin over and all the people in Lavin over and all those places. That is a third generation. The people who were living there before all of them move out, they live in down the Martin, what they call it, Lyman Bay. They live in La Florissant. They live in Gated, because in those days all them people went to RCCIC. So all them people who were talking about Lavantil and things, that is a third generation. The people who really was living in Lavantil and move on, all them places, them people and them living in Diamond Bay, La Florissant, North, South, Gated Place, even in Malabar, the first Malabar crew of Valsine, all of them are living there, right? And then the third thing is this. Well, if you're trying to win PNM people, you can't get on, so you have to talk them good. You because you're just making things worse. Because everybody have the rights. I have a right if I want to vote for PNM until I'm dead. You are a right if you want to vote for UNT for life. So you if all you want to win PNM, do because they can vex a lot of PNM people vex. You know you all your rails separate the people in it. The rails separate them, right? Because I live in the East West Corridor, right? And I could tell you, right? So when you think what is saying, it don't make sense. Lavantil is that third generation. All the people in who was there.
Thank you, caller. Boy, I really trying to understand what's going on with these children. I really trying to understand what's going on with Jacob. I trying to understand if Jacob had to get instruction from Rowley to go and investigate what's going on in them home, to go and take these children and them. You see, there is something in the Children Act, Archie, if I remember quite correctly, that say that if you see a child in trouble and you do nothing to assist that child, then you are accountable. And I think that the commissioner of police and them had to be accountable. Them should go to jail. Because if we have all this going on, and we can't hear the commissioner speaking about a report. And you see, that's why I don't call Gary Griffith name again, you know. Because I know Gary Griffith would have never leave this thing undone. Never leave this thing undone. Welcome, caller.
Yeah.
Go ahead, caller. I hear you.
You hear me?
Yeah, welcome. Go ahead.
All right. I want to suggest that we get a sexual register and we go take the man from Tobago name and put in the first page. And then we go take the head judicial officer, put it on the second page. And then the short hair Rasta man who we will see sometimes down the meet him. I think he's an MP, I'm not sure, eh? We should put him on the third page. And you know, that is where we have all these fellas who, so we could call them the pedophile. You understand? And then Jacob, he's the quiet man. All he doing is stay quiet, eh? Anyhow, thank you.
Thank you, caller. I can't understand this. I cannot understand this. This is why I can't understand. This is why I can't understand. Boy, we talking about children that been abused, boy. Them children are feast day for these sick, nasty men and them and women. You understand? A field day. And we talking about nothing happening. No interview, no investigation, no doctors. They didn't take them trained by the doctor to be examined. Nothing happening, and life just running normal, and people just quiet in this country. Everybody just drinking their coffee, and it's a cool scene. It's a cool scene. I really can't understand that. I just can't understand that. What kind of prime minister we have in this country, boy? What kind of people we have in that cabinet? What kind of people we have saying down in that cabinet, boy? What kind of people? It had to be animals. It have to be animals. No human being will sit down and allow what happening to happen. No human being will sit down and allow this brutal, wicked act to continue. No, man, no. I can't understand what's going on in this country, boy. I can't understand what's happening, people. I just cannot understand this. This is what I can't understand. What is so... Who are these people that they are so protective of? Who is these people? Who is these high officials that this government protecting? Who are the members of the cabinet that is being protected? What happening? Who is this big businessman? Who is these big judicial officers? I'm sure it can be the man who wanted to promote for the whole of justice step. I'm sure it can be he. I can understand these people. Welcome, caller.
Yes. What you're speaking this should have been, that is kind of, should have been there in the newspapers. Because these things are happening at the highest office in the land, the highest laws, the highest people in the country doing these things. And this is why I say I consider myself citizen X. I refuse to live under this. That people just call him, he is a prime minister, not the prime minister. I don't want to see you the person a shameful group of people. And the worst thing about all this is that they kill one of the boys. It's foul all eating. They just chop out the head barricade and you're on your way. You know, that is the way they are approaching the thing. Like if the children is chicken, we cook, we eat, and we gone. You know? And as I say, everybody in the laws and things, the man breaking all the highest laws.
He make all laws in Trinidad. And people are saying they're in a cult, you know. I say it's a cult, it's a Jim Jones cult. Yes. But the things what you are raising there should be in the paper. Papers are supposed to be pressing for this thing.
Welcome, caller.
Yes, good night, Mr. Robert.
Good night, sir.
Coffee and all there with you. I listen to your program. I'll always listen to your program. Would you expect...
Load on your radio, caller. We getting our feedback. Load on your radio and listen on the phone.
Okay, sure. No problem.
Right, go ahead.
I don't think anybody, whether PNM or UNC, expect the Prime Minister to take any step in that matter. Simply because his man who started that in school from Tobago. So who he going to correct? Secondly, is he partnering them? We're doing that. It is alleged that Ken Valley and our demanding Chief Justice, all of them involved in that. So he can't tell them nothing because they're holding his secret. So don't expect nothing to come out of that. Nothing whatsoever. I'll listen to you also, sir.
Oh boy. Well, this is the greatest, I telling you. This is the greatest, boy. I want to interview bad with this man, boy. Let me really tear open, because who are those individuals that this government protecting? Who they protecting? Why they protecting them? Why they protecting them? Why are our children being abused with no protection? No protection from the government, from the state. No protection. What is happening?
Again, Mr. Roberts, you cannot put a cat towards cheese. That's what's going on. The Prime Minister and the members of the cabinet know fully well all who the people is involved.
They must know, caller. They must know. They know.
But how am I going to sing my partner? I can't sing my partner because my partner go call my name too. That's what happening.
Thank you, my brother. They know. Don't feel them and know, you know. Them know. That is why the report hiding. That is why they hide it for 6 months. They know who are the players. And it's a chronic behavior. That ain't going to stop, you know. That ain't going to stop. It's a chronic behavior. These wicked, nasty individuals, that is where they find the pleasure. That is where they find the pleasure. By inflicting pain on little children, monsters in human form, dogs in human form. That is what they are, animals. And we have a prime minister. And we have a minister in the prime minister office. And yet, to the end of the day, these people rest on that document. A matter of fact, it seems as though that they wanted to discredit Judith Jones. It seems as though they wanted to discredit Judith Jones. Welcome, caller.
Yeah. What I want to say is that the judicial officer doing Boysen, the fellow in the Boysen, and I have the bigger lady doing Gilsen. Right.
Boy, let me tell you something. This thing that is taking place here is from the highest office you could imagine. Let me help all you understand what's going on here now. Since all they're playing, all they want to understand. This thing what going on here, this pedophile operation, is from the highest office in this country that you can imagine. You imagine where that office lies. To every head coming down the line is a whole ring. Some of them came out of a particular school. Welcome, caller.
Hey, good evening, brother. Vic, how are you going?
Good day, sir.
Good. I don't know if you want to know the up-to-date news in England. It's only in Trinidad that the P&M minister, they do what they want and get through with it and take people as such as dumb fools. Boris Johnson, the British Prime Minister, 40, listen to this, 40 of his own colleagues, member of parliament, they're calling on him to resign. Just imagine that, you know.
Yeah.
40 of his own colleagues calling him to resign. You know why? He elected or selected, or whatever one you want to call it, appoint a gentleman to some committee or something like that. So, and do you know that gentleman had a case of sexual harassment against him? Yeah. And here was Boris Johnson jump up and say, oh, you forget the man had a sexual harassment case against him. You believe this nonsense? So in other words, look what Rowley do. Rowley let Darrell Smith sit on that board, harass the woman, pay off the woman, and then start to harass the woman for sexual harassment or whatever, and he still condone it up to now. They have to talk about what commission of inquiries and investigation. Up to now, that Darrell Smith report has and was never made public in the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. That is a sealed document, sealed commission of inquiry.
Secret.
Nobody knows what happened with the Darrell Smith here.
Top secret. Thank you, caller. Welcome, caller.
Mr. Robert?
Yes, sir. Welcome.
I want to read something for you. I'll do it quickly.
Go ahead.
So the Cosa Nostra is a branch of the Sicilian mafia that was founded in the United States in the 17th century. And they have sworn to secrecy, and they operate. Their activities include racketeering, drug trafficking, murder, extortion, loan sharking. And our Prime Minister is associating his group as the Cosa Nostra. And it loosely means in Sicily, criminal. All the best. Have a great evening.
Thank you, caller. Well, this Cosa Nostra that exists in this country today, I know they in racketeer. I know they in all kind of bacchanal, because I remember that some agents from America came and had a joint exercise with Defense Force and went down Shagaramas and seized tons of cocaine in a vessel that was anchored there. And sadly enough, they didn't inform the command goat. They didn't inform a number of high-ranking officials. They just come and do the thing as the US, and they get out. So the Cosa Nostra is up and running. Take the caller, actually, go for it. Welcome, caller.
Hello?
Welcome, caller.
But yes, Mr. Robert, you have on your part that they call one name and one name Padarat.
You get what you say, Archie? I ain't get what you say there at all. But I am saying, my people, that we have to do something about what's going on in them children home. And I feel I will do something, you know. I feel that something had to be done by them children home, and I feel I go start the ball rolling because I ain't taking that. I ain't taking that. Just what I telling earlier. I ain't taking that. And I'm going to make a call very soon. Very soon I'm making a call. And that call will be we going and stand up by them children home until an investigation and until police officers get involved with what happening in them children home. That is what I am going to do. Because you see this, since everybody want to cover and everybody want to hide and everybody want to sweep under the carpet, something had to happen. This cannot continue with our children. Those perpetrators must be brought to justice. Must be brought to justice. And I don't care if those individuals is from the corporation. I don't care. Just now, actually, don't take it yet. I don't care if those individuals is from the ministry energy. I don't care if them individuals is from the law association. I don't care if those individuals is from the cabinet. I don't care if those individuals is from the judiciary. And I don't care if those individuals is from President House. I don't care. I ain't care. Whoever these individuals are must be brought to justice. Take the call, Ash. Welcome, caller.
Mr. Robert, I totally support you. But we have to go by the diplomatic center and we have to go by the president's house. Them children's home too out of the way in shady area where they could do the bacchanal. And then we will only cause the children to get a false sense of hope because we are sure our action is going to help them. And we don't want to give them no false sense of supporting.
Good.
We go upset them. I don't want we upset them. You remember, as I was saying earlier, you have to go to the problem. The problem is the president's house. Taxpayers' money spent $450 million to fix that. And the house in the diplomatic center, especially when you see they have foreign dignitaries come over, we will expose them to the world. Because trying to keep this quiet and under the carpet causing pain to our children. We cannot continue to allow this to happen.
Right. So, caller, I've given everybody my phone number. 316-4468. All who serious, call me and we're going to put something in place. 316-4468. That is my cell phone number.
Let Archie pop the number on the screen.
Please. Right, thank you.
Let Archie. We're not going by the home. Don't let me go by the home.
We will discuss that when we talk. Don't worry.
Yes, we had to go home by the Archbishop house because he getting the subvention from the taxpayers. We had to go by the Archbishop house, and we had to make noise because he getting money from the taxpayers, money from the government subvention to run them homes, plenty of them homes. So we going by he too.
Talk done. Talk done, caller.
You agree?
316-4468.
316-4468.
We put it up on the screen.
Right. We go in and we want people who have children and love their children, or people who generally love children for the right reasons, not for the pedophile reasons. We don't want them.
Correct.
We want them to join and come with us, and we will do what we have to do.
The number on the screen there now.
Thank you.
Thank you, caller. We had to put a stop to this. Rowley and the government, if they want to do nothing, well, we go do it. We going to do it. This abuse have to stop. This have to stop. We going to do it. You understand? We have to do it. Or they have a report and shelf it. So let's discrediting Judith Jones, so Judith Jones lie. What Judith Jones says is not the truth. All the evidence that she gather is not the truth. All they take the report, shelf it for 6 months. When all they under pressure, all they come out and try to tell we about Basdio Pandey and Sapga report.
Yeah.
That what they try to tell we?
And then put she in charge of the Police Service Commission. You can imagine that? A crazy woman? Good night, Mr. Roberts.
Thank you, caller. Thanks for your support. Cut off the caller. Yeah, that's enough, man. That's enough. We're not taking that anymore. We cannot take that anymore. Since Jacob and all of them fall asleep, and since Jacob and them waiting for the politician to tell them what to do, because that's how it appears, It appears as though that Jacob waiting for the politician. Rowley tried that with Gary, and it didn't work. So he get rid of Gary. So he find somebody now who he could work with. Well, all right. Or they sit down right there, Jacob. Sit down right there. Sit down right there and collect a fat salary and don't do nothing. Sit down right there. We're going to expose all here. We're going to expose this. We're going to expose this. This is enough. This is enough. We're not going to take this anymore. We're not taking this anymore. Pop my number there for them, actually. Let us see it. Call me from tomorrow, please, God. All call me. And we're going to put it in place. We can't let this continue, man. And I'm going to try to get that individual to come early and give us some information as to what really happening. Because this individual was working there. So I will have to talk to him first, and in terms of whether he want to expose himself, because I know how deadly this thing is, I know how deadly this thing is. I know, don't feel me, I know how deadly this is. Because I get bullet for this already. I know how deadly it is. You understand? But this thing can't continue, boy. This thing can't continue. We have our government sitting down. We have Beckers and Manning and all of the rest of the cabinet ministers sit down there, and nobody kicking up a storm as to what is taking place with our children. Why? Because it's not all your DNA, because it's not all your sperm that bring them children. It's because it's not all your own. Anything could happen to them. We could lead them there to the wolf. We could lead them there to be abused. We could lead them there to be sexual molested. We could do that because now we children. Well, all you could do that if all you want. All you could do that if all you want. But you see me, I not taking that. I not sitting down on that. I not sitting down and let that pass. I not sitting down and let that pass. And all you know, I do afraid to go one man. All you know that. All they know me afraid. One man. I ain't afraid. This nonsense has to stop. We cannot condone this in our country. We cannot. These are things that prime ministers and so on should get the axe for. They should be kicked out of office. We having this kind of abuse going on. Or they take the document and rest it down for 6 months, while them trying and them bawling with agony and pain when night come, with the pleasures of some sexual predators that we call human being. Because they what? Because some of them is high-ranking officials in the judiciary. Because some of them in law association. Because some is businessmen. Because some is sit down in the government. That is why we go accept it. No. This have to stop. This have to stop. And we're going to put a stop to this. We're going to expose this. We're going to call the international press. We will call someone the international press with this wickedness that's going on in this country. We're going to call the international press and highlight it. We will seek interview with every media house throughout the world and let them know what the Prime Minister of this country is condoning. What the Prime Minister did with a report that point out that high-ranking officials that sits within his party who is abusing and misusing these children. We're going to expose that. That is what we're going to do. That is what we're going to do. Actually, I think we had a wrap up there. That is what we're going to do. So call me 316-4468 and we're going to deal with that. God bless. I out. Wicked set of devils.
A code, a mafiosi code. We keep each other's secret. It's only when you break rank, you go there and expose us, and for that, we're going to kill you politically. It's the code of the Cosa Nostra. As long as we stay together, we will survive together. And we agree not to breach the code of secrecy. A code, a mafiosi code. We keep each other's secret. It's only when you break rank, you go there and expose us, and for that, we're going to kill you politically. It's the code of the Cosa Nostra. As long as we stay together, we will survive together. And we agree not to breach the code of secrecy.